Now, suicide is the biggest killer of men and women under 35 in the UK, and to raise awareness of the issue, a baton of hope has been carried across 12 cities.
Yeah, it's hoped the campaign will reduce the stigma around suicide and encourage people to speak up and ask for help.
Well, our reporter Alison Freeman is in Sheffield, where the second leg of the UK tour begins this morning. Morning, Alison.
Yeah, good morning. Welcome to Hillsborough Stadium, the home of Sheffield Wednesday, where in about 40 minutes or so, the fourth day of the Baton of Hope relay is going to kick off, if you like. It's visiting 12 cities in 12 days, spreading that message of hope to people who might feel suicidal or who have lost loved ones. And it's a particularly special day today because this is the home city of Mike McCarthy, the man behind it, the man who lost his son Ross just back in February 2021, and who really wants to spread this message. We'll be talking to him in a moment. But earlier this week, I came here to the stadium to chat to Will Volks. He's the footballer who's going to kick off today's events, and he told me why this event is just so important to him.
My granddad Tom, who's my dad's dad, a bit more Jack the lad. He's one of those grandparents where when he came down to look after us, he always used to say, when the cat's away, the mice will play. So when my mum and dad basically were away, it was no bedtimes, play, rough and tumble, on his motorbike, playing in the garden, very active. Always remember like wrestling with him and, you know, going and jumping in rivers. My other Grandad Howell, is my mum's dad, Welsh side of my family. Very much a family man, quiet, so loving. So very different people, but I couldn't have asked for more growing up, you know, from both my granddads, I guess.
Footballer Will Volks was just 13 when his dad's father took his own life. He'd had some mental health support after a failed attempt 6 months before, but the former miner died by suicide in 2007 at the age of 67.
I think that's the first time I ever saw my dad cry. We never said like, oh, he was clearly struggling with his mental health. Those words weren't used. It is really sad, you know, to have somebody taken out your life and for them to think that that's the best way out, whereas we'd love to have had them for another 10, 15 years.
But that wasn't the only tragedy to hit the footballer's family. Just 13 months later, in October 2008, Will's other grandfather, Hal, who was 78, took his own life too.
So my mum was in the car with the police dogs looking for my granddad, and as far as I'm aware, she kind of came around the corner and found my granddad. That was just like complete shock, and you wouldn't have expected that at all.
Poignantly, the day before he died, Hal went to see Will play one last time at Tranmere Rovers.
Chances are he was thinking I'll go and watch Will play football, and then that night told my mum he loved her, and then the next morning, killed himself. We don't really know the ins and outs of why, which is, again, hard because we didn't have a chance to have conversations, we didn't have a chance to seek help, we didn't have a chance to put things in place or get him speaking to people because, well, I think, honestly, that if we'd have known and managed to get the help that he needed, it could have been prevented.
It must be really difficult to know that they haven't seen how successful you've become. Is that something that you feel, you know, is it in the back of your mind often?
Yeah, it is, and I think having my own child now, you know, I'm not a big crier, but my mum sent me the pictures for this interview and I actually cried in the car with my little boy in the back because we just thought, you've missed out on so much. But not just me, they've missed out. My sister's a doctor, which I know would have made my granddad so proud. My brother's successful with his business. You know, it's not just me playing football, but yeah, they've missed so much. That's just the reality of suicide.
Will be kicking off the Sheffield stage of the Baton of Hope relay, hoping to highlight the help that's out there for those who are suicidal. And he's also backed Sheffield Wednesday's Men's Talk Club, even taking part himself.
Came out of it feeling a little bit better myself. So it just shows like whether you think you're feeling okay or you can always feel a bit better, I think. And imagine when you're really low, you can always feel a little bit better by talking about it.
We've talked a lot about talking today. If you could speak to either of your granddads again now, perhaps before they took their own lives, what would you say to them?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a hard question. I think just how much they're loved. That's what people who take their own lives, I I think they've somehow managed to blank that out, that you're so loved by so many people. I guess that's why we're doing this, to try and help other families not go through what we have.
Well, you can see they're starting to get ready here. They've got the banner already, but more importantly, joining me now is Mike McCarthy. This is all your idea, basically. What's it been like over the past few days?
Well, first of all, there were other people involved. It wasn't just me, but the past few days have just been astonishing. We never imagined a year ago, you know, this charity is just 1 year old. We never imagined that it would grow so big so quickly, and the reception that we've had in the cities that we've visited so far, Glasgow, Edinburgh and Newcastle, has been beyond our wildest imagination. So warm, so enthusiastic, and it's filled me with hope, because it's made me think that maybe the time is right. Maybe there's something happening out there where people no longer see suicide as a taboo, and if that is the case, that's an amazing breakthrough and just something wonderful to behold, basically.
Fantastic achievement. Look, today is very special to you, isn't it? This is your home city. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, we've lived here for 40 years, and my son Ross was born here and grew up here. We lost Ross in 2021 to suicide. He sat in this very stadium. But Ross was one of those rare creatures who supported both football clubs. He just loved Sheffield and he wanted both football clubs to do well, so he used to go and visit Sheffield United. And yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's very moving to be here knowing that he was here and that this was something that he loved. And yeah, he sort of left a farewell letter saying, please fight for mental health. And suicide is never the answer, let's be clear, it's never ever the answer, but I'm proud of a son who saw that there was a cause to be championed in a world that he wouldn't be part of, and kind of feeling his presence today.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Mike. It's obviously very, very difficult for you. But this by your side is Will. He's the man who's going to be kicking off today. Will, you know, hearing Mike talk like that, your own experiences, your grandfather's on your chest there, what does it mean to be holding the baton there today?
It means a lot. I'm trying not to look at Mike too much because he's going to set me off. But no, it does. It's a real honour. I feel privileged. You know, I wish I wasn't carrying it in a bizarre way. I wish my granddads hadn't have killed themselves, but they did. And I'm trying to now do, you know, just a fraction of what Mike's doing and spreading the message out that it isn't the answer. And let's not lose these people anymore. Stop families going through what we've been through, what we're going through. That is the aim. It says on that banner, Zero Suicide Society. That is the plan. That's what we want to do. You two, men, stating the obvious there, but talking very passionately. That wouldn't have happened 10, 15 years ago. We touched on that in our interview, didn't we? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it would have. You know, I met Mike at a talk club that the whole point is to talk, and men talk, and we know men are not the best at it. We just say, you're all right, yeah, I'm all right, and then we crack on. But that's not the way it should be, and I do think we're moving in the right direction. Statistics, suicide-wise, aren't great. They've stagnated from what I've seen over the last few years, but we want to improve that and get those numbers right down, and I think the way to do that, well, I'm certain the way to do it is to talk about it, get it out there. Talking is the key. Thank you so much. Good luck today. Good luck for the rest of the journey as well, Mike. Well, there's going to be more than 800 people, is that right, taking part, carrying the baton over the rest of the journey, another 8 days I think we've got to go, and we'll be following it here on Breakfast, I'm sure. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Alison. All best wishes to Will and Mike there for sharing their story.
And if you have been affected by any of the issues raised by that report, you can find organisations offering help and support on the BBC Action Line website. Just search bbc.co.uk/actionline.